are 365 days, which means that Mercury experiences 4 years in the time it takes us to complete one orbit of the Sun. Mercury's shorter orbit creates an optical illusion in that it appears to speed past Earth, slow down, and then move in a backwards loop, giving us Mercury retrograde. It's the planetary equivalent of runners on a racetrack. The inner track is shorter than the outer track. For a graphic representation of the orbit of Mercury around the Sun from our point of view here on Earth, see mercuryrx.yasminboland.com. This is how planetary retrogrades work from our vantage point. The Earth sees Mercury ahead, but the Earth moves faster than Mercury, so as we catch up and then overtake it, Mercury appears to go backwards in the sky. This means that instead of progressing forwards through the zodiac from one sign to another, Mercury appears to reverse through whatever sign it was in when the retrograde started. It's an illusion, but a meaningful one symbolically. Mercury isn't the only planet that goes retrograde. They all do, with the exception of the Sun and the Moon, which aren't actually planets. When a planet goes retrograde, we get a stalling in the proceedings connected to that planet. Mercury retrograde is the best known of all the planetary retrogrades, though, and it happens 3 or 4 times a year, or about 20% of the time. Mercury is the planet of communication, thinking and learning, and represents ideas, methods, information, dexterity, and transport. Mercury is also the trickster, and so when it goes retrograde, its influence works differently to usual because its energy intensifies and things seem to go awry. However, as you'll discover, you can work consciously with Mercury's energies when it's retrograde and use them to your advantage. Common myths about Mercury retrograde. Before we move on to exploring how to maximize Mercury's energies, let's start by dispelling a few common myths about Mercury retrograde. We've already explained why Mercury appearing to go backwards is an illusion. And another common myth is that we can't see Mercury in the sky when it's retrograde because it's too close to the Sun. The truth is that Mercury is usually too close to the Sun to be seen, but when Mercury is about to go retrograde, it's far away enough from the Sun to be visible to the naked eye. Just as Mercury's turning retrograde, we can briefly see it as a faint light after sunset, close to where the Sun has just set. At the end of its retrograde phase, we can see it just before sunrise. Many people also buy into the myth that all these things going wrong in my life are due to Mercury being retrograde, or they believe Mercury retrograde causes nothing but problems. But if you tend to miscommunicate, mess up your travel plans, miss appointments, lose things and delete important emails, most of the time you'll carry on doing this whether Mercury is retrograde or not. It's not Mercury's fault. The truth is that things do go wrong under Mercury retrograde, and particularly with communications, all of which are inconvenient, annoying and frustrating. In this audiobook, however, you'll not only learn how you can prepare to avoid the worst effects of Mercury retrograde, but also how to use it to your advantage. For example, it's a great time to deal with what you've left unresolved in the past, or to make plans for the future. Shadow phases. The periods just before Mercury goes retrograde and just after it goes direct again, in other words, the retrograde cycle ends, are known as the shadow phases. During these times, you might feel the effects of Mercury retrograde even more. This is because the start and finish of any cycle in astrology is always the strongest. The pre-shadow phase